Welcome to the Defense and Aerospace Report. I'm Vago Muradian from the Farnborough International Air Show outside London, and we have with us my old and good friend Alan Garwood, who is the head of business development for BAE Systems. Alan, how's the show going so far?
Apart from the weather, fantastically. As you well know if you were here yesterday, we had a torrential storm, which has sort of not been good, but apart from that, the business is really good. Huge delegations here, huge crowds. I know that because it took me 3 hours to get out of the show. So there's a lot of people here. It's great stuff.
One of the big questions that everybody is talking about, obviously a lot of news at the show, F35 making its debut here at Farnborough with the home customer, but Brexit is the big issue that everybody's talking about. There isn't a company that's more international than you guys are, sheerly in terms of what you're exporting around the world. What sort of impact could this possibly have on a company that is as globally dependent on export sales as you are?
From my point of view, I think there is no impact, and I think you've seen the last few days our share price has continued to climb, and I think most analysts accept that a large part of our income is in dollars and globally spread, so we have a very diverse set of customers and therefore a diverse set of income, so we're not wholly dependent on what happens after Brexit. So I'm not expecting any immediate fallout from that.
Let's go to international campaigns.
Yeah.
You personally, for a long time, have been working on Qatar, being one of the customers, obviously, that's looking at the Eurofighter. Yeah. Walk us through what some of the biggest opportunities are you're pursuing around the world, because I know you put on more air miles than almost anybody I know.
So there's a lot of interest in the Middle East, in a number of countries. Qatar you mentioned, and there's been a lot of negotiations there. We're having discussions with the Malaysian government, and probably some of the exciting ones at the moment are Belgium and Finland. You know, Finland is an existing customer for us. They've got 57 of our Hawk aircraft. They're a very serious, very professional air force with at an interesting location, and they are looking to replace their 62 F/A-18s. They had a huge international competition some years ago and selected the F/A-18. And now they've just launched what we regard as one of the most operationally challenging specs that they've ever issued for an RFI. So it's going to be some years to the contract in Finland, but we've had the whole team here from Helsinki the last couple of days, and I think this is a very serious campaign. It's a very large campaign, say 62 aircraft. We're very excited about that one for sure.
Talk to us about something other than air. What are some of the other systems around the world, whether it's land, sea, or even on the systems or munition side?
So I think the other things that are really interesting for us right now, there's lots of them, but a lot of our equipment businesses in the States, so electronic systems business, continues to be fantastically successful, exporting a lot of equipment as well as, of course, primary supplier to the United States. Our Swedish business, Hägglunds, is seeing a lot of business and a lot of interest in CV90. And so although we've got last year bad news in Denmark, we've got new campaigns in Poland where there's a very substantial requirement, new campaign in Czech Republic, and right now we're under evaluation in Singapore for the BVS-10, which is the latest version of the CV90. And that's for a very significant number of vehicles if we can win that. So I think the land vehicle market is showing big signs of resurgence. Our cyber business continues to grow hugely. Last year we grew the order book there by I think between 20 and 30%. Wow. And we're going to try and do that again this year, both for government customers and commercial. You
guys are very big naval players. Obviously the Royal Navy is working on the Type 26. There's now going to be a new version, the 31. You guys do have a huge key player in the alliance that's building the two big aircraft carriers. What's on the naval front that you're pursuing?
So I think the most interesting thing from my perspective with the export focus is Type 26, but there's a lot of interest in Germany, in Australia and Canada. And so we're offering the design in each country for license build, and we'll be participating in some of the subsystems that goes on that. So this is a really big opportunity for us. We've licensed ship build elsewhere in the past, and we're really excited about these opportunities, some of which will come to fruition in the next year or so. So we're really focusing on keeping the Type 26 program as tight as we can, and getting other countries to come on board. What is a fantastic design.
One of the things that you guys spend time on, obviously, is the Eurofighter, but you're an equally important member of the consortium that builds the Joint Strike Fighter. Yeah. Lockheed Martin, Northrop Grumman, and BAE Systems are the top three, the real bigs in that, not including, obviously, the engine maker and Rolls-Royce. Mm-hmm. But walk us through how you have this sort of split personality. On the one hand, one of the leading champions of Eurofighter, on the other hand, an equally big champion of the Joint Strike Fighter.
So we have a relationship with Lockheed particularly that for BAE Systems Lockheed, we will not go up against Lockheed in the market. We're totally committed to the F35. It's a fantastic product for us. We have around 15% of the total program. So with the size of this program as it's going to be, and it's going to be fantastically successful in the export market, this is a hugely important program for us. So we do not intend to take the F-35 on in any market and vice versa, where we are in the lead. So sometimes when a consortium wants to pursue particular campaigns and the F-35 is a real contender, then we would tend not to front it. This is not absolute, but by and large that's what we try to do.
And what kind of interest are you hearing about the F-35 when you go and you have some of these meetings?
There's a lot of it. I mean, everyone has been waiting this week to see this aircraft come into the UK. It's made a fantastic impression, as you know.
At the Air Tattoo.
At the Air Tattoo, and hopefully if the weather improves this week, it will be here. It was flying here as well. But no, it's a really important program for the UK and the US. It's important to us as well to stress to customers that the Royal Air Force here have taken decisions to have both aircraft, Typhoon and F-35. We see the missions as entirely complementary, and that's something some of our customers will start to look at. And so we will continue to progress Typhoon where we want to, and we'll continue to progress supporting Lockheed Martin on the F-35.
One last question. A few city analysts and I were talking, and one of the questions that they raised yesterday, obviously the formal announcement that the UK confirming what was in the Strategic Defence and Security Review to acquire 9 P-8 and then a whole bunch of the AH-64E Apache helicopter. And a few of them, all British analysts, were commenting that the really biggest programs at this show are American programs that the UK is buying, and for those two systems they're going to be FMS buys. And so one of the questions they asked is, doesn't that compromise British industry's position to get out there in the market when the home customer is buying American products? You know, again, you travel around the world. Is that something that gives you a challenge?
Well, for BAE Systems, we didn't have a dog in those fights. We're not into those markets, so it's not a problem. For us, we have a fantastic relationship with HMG. We have had some of the best support from this government that I've ever seen, with ministers and the Prime Minister travelling a lot to help secure contracts. So there may be large contracts announced at Farnborough this week, but we are working on some contracts that are far substantially bigger than the figures you just mentioned around the world. So we'll continue to work closely with this government and the new Prime Minister, now we know who she's going to be, and we will get that support, and we will be a very successful business in the export market with all the products we've got.
Alan, thanks very much and best of luck.
Okay, thanks a lot. Cheers.